Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and today I have another tips and tricks guide, this time detailing Zeku, the newest character in Street Fighter V, the master of both being young and old at the same time. So, as usual, I'm going to go over special moves for both young and old versions, the properties of those moves within, and a bunch of other nicks and knacks. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Now, to start with old Zeku, and for convenience's sake, I'll be referring to this guy as old Zeku, this guy is young Zeku. Even though this should be Zeku greater, and this guy is Zeku lesser, because old guy is way cooler than young guy in my opinion. But anyways, let's start with the start and go over the special move. So the flip. So the flip has 3 strengths, and each strength you flip further, and the light punch one can never cross up, even if you do it right in front of their face. So you have 3 canned follow-ups, and this was honestly a bit disappointing, because going off like, the early trailers and the reveals and all that, I was led to believe this would be a bigger threat than it is, but kind of isn't. And that none of these 3 moves, which are the elbow, the kick, and the throw, hit overhead in any way, shape, or form. So a crouching character can literally beat all 3 options. So the elbow can only hit cross up. So I mentioned here how the light punch version could not cross up. So if you do the light punch version, it'll never hit. The kick, you gotta wait a little bit, especially if they are crouching, to hit your button to be able to connect with them. But thankfully, if you get deep enough, you can totally get a combo off it, so that's something. And same deal with the elbow. You can totally get follow-ups off the elbow, as you can see there. So the throw, honestly not too much special, especially since crouching beats it. Honestly, I don't see too much use for it, at least as of this juncture. But the one thing, at least, even if we can't get overheads, is the one thing you can force left-right mix-ups. So since I mentioned, this can't hit cross-up, but unless you flip over their head. So basically the guessing game is light punch flip, stay same side kick, or medium punch flip, and elbow cross-up. Mid-screen, it's of nebulous use. You'll still catch everyone now and then sleeping, I'm sure, but it gets a lot better in the corner, because in the corner, the light punch version here and the medium punch version look basically exactly the same until the cross-ups already happened. So, like, you had that much time, like a couple milliseconds to guess cross-up or not there. Because the light punch and medium punch just look identical till you see the attack come in. So, the left-right mix-up is going to be most powerful in the corner, and otherwise it's of dubious use in neutral. Like, it's still good to, go over fireballs. And speaking of fireballs, so we have Chun-Li set up here. The EX version is fireball invisible from frame 1 till you touch the ground. So it is super invincible. And the follow-up moves are still the same, so nothing's different there. But yeah, you are incredibly invincible while doing this against fireballs. So if you're having trouble against, like, I don't know, Guile or something, that at least says, no, I want to gain a little bit of space here, and go from there. Now, for the slash kicks, they come in 2 varieties, quarter circle backs, quarter circle forwards. Quarter circle backs are mostly combo fodder, although the fierce kick version is very suitable in the air, especially if you get the space. So big people with slow jumps like Zangief, they're going to learn to love to hate this one, I'm very sure. But yeah, so generally the same strength combos into itself, so light kick into light kick, medium into meaty, or medium into medium, sorry, and heavy into heavy. Now, one thing to note too, just for your own easy use and peace of mind where you're comboing, it can kind of cancel into itself without having to fully reset your animation. So anytime after the hit, you can just go right into the next kick, and it will connect. So hit, enter the motion, it comes out. So way before the animation's finished, it's basically buffering into itself, so it makes comboing a lot easier. I had a little bit of trouble when I first started because I was waiting for the animation like that kind of end in full, and I was dropping everything. I didn't realize how easy it was. So, nice little tidbit to know. And now we did mention fireballs before about the flip, so let's mention fireballs again. The kicks, and I just got hit, so you got to be a little preemptive here. But the kicks totally beat fireballs, at least the one-hit fireballs. EX is not so much. And the hitbox doesn't disappear just because it clashed with the fireball. So if you manage, there we go, let's see here. If you manage to beat the fireball, the hitbox is still very active, and you can hit the person on the other side of it. So if you got a fireball happy person, And keep in mind, only one hit fireball, so no EX boom's still going to beat you, unfortunately. But this is already a great space control, because you see here the ridiculous range. Like, look at this. Like, there is a smidge of startup, so if you're really on the ball, you can jump. But some characters, like, you know, your Abigails and such, they're not even going to be able to reach from there, so whatever. But this is a ridiculous space control move. Like, that has a good 75% of the screen or so. And, you know, it's 100 damage. It's respectable. It's a good little take a chip here. Chipping away at the life bar. And this is one to go... I don't know. I'm just kind of gushing here. It's really, really good at space control here. Especially because at that range too, and very little can be done to really punish it at that range, you can just toss this out, and if they jump, they get hit. And as we mentioned before, how it combos into itself, so let's just set our dummy to jump. So even on a jump, like, you still get the follow-up. So that's always solid anti-air no matter what. And it's just, it kind of shows the duality of the two characters. Because this version of Zeku, older Zeku, is more of a space control character, while younger Zeku is more of a berserker rushdown kind of deal. Now, for the Dragon Punch, or Dragon Kick, I suppose, as it were, it's not too much out of the ordinary what you expect. The light kick version is best just for little jab combo enders. Although you do gotta be really close, so you can see that ROF right in front of them. The medium kick version is throw immune, so handy. And the heavy kick version is definitely go to anti-air, as it's immune to all jump-ins on frame 1. So as long as you catch them in the air, you're gonna win every time. And no surprise if you're familiar at all with Street Fighter V, but the EX version is full invincible. And that's really kind of all there's saying about that. One thing to note though, in case you're thinking about ending your combos with anything other than light kick version, all three versions do the exact same damage. See there? So, not really much to say other than that. The light kick version has the best Oki, because you recover the quickest. You're closer to the ground as you recover. So your best options there. So, unless you're willing to spend bar, combos, light kick version, and medium kick and fierce kick are situational as the situation demands. Now, one final note here about old Zeku before we close out this particular section is the backwards scythe kicks here, the launchers, will not hit on crouching foes. Now, fortunately, we have two moves to help rectify that, and one of them is the stand medium kick. And since stand medium kicks one of your party starters, because you're going to start a lot of B&Bs with it, you know, that kind of alleviates that problem right there. So, if you get the hit confirmed, you can go without any fear right into the backwards scythe kick, because you'll know they're always going to be standing. So that and Crouch Fierce, both for standing. So on the Crouch Fierce, we can get a medium version of the backward scythe kick. So if you connect with that and the stand medium kick, you can be assured your foe is going to stand. There's no way the backward scythe kick is going to miss. Now for young Zeku, let's start off here with the palm. So just fireball motion in any of the three punches. So first thing to note about the palm, and we're going to keep going back to the fireball example here, but you know, if it works, don't argue it. So it does break the first hit of fireballs. See here. If you are close enough to, just like the kick from before for old Zeku, it will still go through and hit the foe on the other side. So now one thing to note here, palm, one of its main uses is as a combo ender, but the moves have varying differences on how plus or negative they are on block. So the light punch version is punishable on block at -4. So everyone in the game can at least get something if they block it. The medium punch version is safe at -2, and where the real fun starts is the fierce version and the EX versions are both +2 on block, so it's still your turn if they block it. And the EX version is also really fun because it has a crumple stance on hit, after which you can get a nice little sassy combo. Provided, you don't drop it. And after that, you can get another palm, so we can go EX palm, heavy shoulder, and medium palm. So that's some nice chunk of damage, and obviously there will almost certainly be a combo preceding that. So that's how he gets some of his bigger damage without super. Now, for the shoulder attack, so that's just backward fireball motion and any of the three punches. So this is where a lot of combos in the young form are going to start with this, or have this in at some point, and there's a lot to talk about. So first off, it's technically death on block at -6, so everyone's going to be able to do something like that. But it does have 6 active frames, so if you mediate in the setup, or you just manage to hit late, you can actually make it safe on block depending on your spacing, or depending on how immediate hits. So light and medium are both 6 active frames, and the heavy version is 5 active frames. So they're all universally -6, so you can make them safe on block if you get your setups right. So that said, they're all jump cancelable at certain points. The EX is obviously way more jump cancelable than the other, but both of them you just hold up and you'll get in there at certain points. So by itself, you can basically get light palm off the light and medium palm off medium and heavy. Now you can also tiger knee cancel, and if you're not familiar, that's just doing the motion of the move and then hitting up or up forward to get EX grab at the end of these guys. So might have to practice a little bit there. You see there, so you can use this as a combo ender too, and get a nice little chunk of that damage for burning a bar. And now, forgive me for being a broken record, but let's go back to our fireball examples here. So no, it's not invincible against fireballs, it's not going to armor through anything, but what you can do, if you space it just right, is you can go under fireballs, as you can see there. So be sure you're going to get it, because otherwise, I mentioned, not very safe on block unless it's perfectly spaced, but it's totally a tool you can have, and he can do a lot of things to deal with one hit of a fireball, but nothing you really do with multi-hits other than, avoid it, so he can totally avoid it. Now, young Zeku totally has unique moves, and everything's unique, like special moves, normals, everything's unique. And so one of them is the slide. So the slide is kind of like, your standard sweeping slide. A lot of characters have something like this. But his is unique in that, one, if you do space correctly, that can be made safe, but if you space correctly, it doesn't knock down. So that was a knockdown. We go a little bit further here. Well, a little too far. And there you go. See, that wasn't a knockdown. So if you get it perfect spacing, you get like a crouch medium punch after that, and you can still crush counter with it and get the knockdown, so you can go for a whole weird combo setup after that. So it's really extra rewarding, even more than most people, I get it's safe on block if I space it right. Well, if you space it right, you get a full combo. So that's something you really gotta have to practice your pixels on, because getting a full combo off a sweep is fantastic. Now, to briefly talk about his command run, it's just a fireball and one of the kicks, and the initial kick doesn't really seem to matter. It has 3 follow-ups, one depending on each kick. Light kick is a stop, and no, unfortunately, it's not like Street Fighter 4, run stop pressure, you're not going to get anything too crazy. The best you can really do is threaten, with a stop, crouch jab, or maybe a throw after you stop, and even then, that's seeable, so not going to be like L for a dare guy or anything like that, unfortunately. Medium kick is a slide, it's a low, it knocks down, that's pretty much all there is to it, and it keeps you very low to the ground, so it'll go underneath a lot of attacks. And heavy kick's an overhead, and this safe on blocks, only -2 I believe, so that's something. And the EX, when you do that little puff of smoke, you do disappear off the stage of play, so it'll go past fireballs, and it's a quick and dirty way to get full screen. If you're pushed down, you just want in. And while you're in it, all your moves will do slightly more damage, not too much more, but it's better than nothing. So it's a way in, has a high, low, overhead or low rather, mix-up game into it, and the run stop ain't nothing to write home about, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Now he also has an air throw, but unlike a lot of characters, the air throw is a command air throw, so it's not just you hitting throw in the air. So you can obviously just go for it. Each punch version is like 1 frame slower than the other, but honestly, all things being equal, you should always either go for the Fierce or the EX, because just for the damage. Because on top of having different startups, they also do different damage, and the higher the better. So there's 2 ways to really combo into it if you want to combo into it. So the first way, we just mentioned briefly, you can tiger knee off a shoulder to get the EX air grab. And I did mention here, you have to practice that timing because it gets a bit tricky sometimes. There we go. And the way easier one to get is to go EX shoulder. and then you get a fierce command grab, a regular one, or EX if you want to burn bar from that. So you can be very daring and try to rip someone out of the sky with the command throw, but for the most part, it's probably done in combo. Now, like a true ninja, he can obviously bounce off the walls. So you can just do a wall bounce here, just hit up forward away from the wall, and this is only in young form. Old form, sadly, not as surprised as it used to be, can't really do it. Now, besides the usual, I can jump off the wall, do a jumping attack, he actually has two different kinds of follow-ups. And they're both done as you leave the wall. So the first one, which is more visibly easy to understand, is as you hit up forward, hit one of the 3 kicks. And you kind of change it. See, that's the regular dive here. He'll kind of change his angle here and do a dive kick. And if you manage to space it correctly, see, you can totally get the combo. So the harder the kick, the further you'll go. And the other one is as you jump off the wall, hit one of the punches. So immediately doesn't look that different than the regular wall jump. But what it is basically, if this only comes at one angle, the 3 punches are basically 3 more angles. The heavier the punch, the further you'll go. See there? So that's quite a bit farther than the regular wall bounce, as you can see here. That's fierce punch. So you have effectively, with the punch buttons, 4 jump angles off the wall. So since jump medium kick is this cross up, you can kind of trick people into, since you have 4 angles of attack, which way you're going to come, because it's not a fixed angle anymore. So you can potentially, depending on the button press, one button would hit cross up, and one would not. Now, to quickly mention the V-skill, so both sides of the coin just turn into the other side of the coin. They're never really going to be optimal damage, so you got to be really desperate if you want to switch out. It's fairly easy for young Zeku to combo into old Zeku, because you can just do like whatever shoulder and switch, not a big problem. Older Zeku's a bit more difficult. You can get off a couple of the launchers there, but since it has angles upwards, it's more difficult to connect than just, the more straightforward of young Zeku. Now, one thing to notice, all things being equal, young Zeku's is better, if only for the fact that his, once you transform to old Zeku, can combo into super. Since the other one leaves you airborne, no combo into super, so handy little ditty to know. Now, for the trigger, it works much the same for both of them. So it comes with a little dash, and from the dash, you can go into a custom combo. Now, one thing to note here, that dash forward, and not on frame 1, I believe it's frame 6, but on frame 6 and onwards, that dash is invincible. So you can use it to bypass like fireballs, projectiles, you can see there. Kind of like Darkstalker's Dimitri style. And another thing to note, and this is kind of key, while it is like the custom combo and you can just, go through all your buttons and all that, I would highly suggest starting with the mediums if you did it anything other than raw. So if you did like off a jump in or a crush counter or whatever, I would highly suggest please do starting with the mediums for one specific reason here. I'm going to do a combo right now. So that did what, 325, right? So we're going to cut out the 2 lights now. Do the same combo. So now that did 347. So now if you have a look here at the damage scaling, we're at 20%. So those lights, considering you already burned up a lot of hits, those lights basically are taking up some of the prime damage real estate. And even though you did more hits, you're going to do less overall. So that's why I suggest please start with the mediums, unless you manage, if you did do it raw to get like, past the fireball or something, then sure, by all means start with the lights. But otherwise, please start with the mediums so you can maximize your damage output. So that concludes my tips and tricks guide for Zeku. I find them very interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more found for him in the future where it comes like, tech, setups, gimmicks, and all that. Because, he's 2 full characters in one. And I'm sure there's going to be certain matches where, one form is much more preferable than the other. Like, old Zeku, I can't see it any other way than he's definitely the guy to go to fight Zangief. Because you don't want to be close to Zangief, and this guy, all he wants to do is get close, while older version, he's got some absolutely fantastic keep away. But I find, I'm a former Vega player myself, I think there's going to be a lot more opportunity to switch forms in mid-match to keep that offensive-defensive flow going. Vega, for the most part, you pick your stance based on the match, and that's kind of it. And I feel Zeku is going to be a lot more fluid in that regard, that you're probably going to switch more than a few times per match as the situation demands. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video found you well. Go out and play some Street Fighter.